SFJ 4x4 Studios presents
in my oversized four-wheel drive Jeep.
a Jeep podcast starring industry experts.
Pure monosity. What? Say that again.
With mad scientist Scott Brown,
Use my drill press as a sort of lathe.
our host Neil Simpson,
If one light goes out, they all go out.
filled with shenanigans.
We are really professional with Jeeps.
This is I Speak Jeep.
However, you are.
You got to start over. I didn't unmute the mic. Go ahead.
You gave me the goat. You gave me the goat, and I the sheep, and I went forward. I went with it. I went full embrace.
There was so much going on at that moment because we're running behind, and I just missed the mute. I'm sorry.
You know what? You know what is so folks, please stay on. Hold on. If this is your first time listening to this, you want to be here for this episode. Do not turn this podcast off if you are listening to it if you are listening to it in your ear holes. Don't come offline. You want to be here for this one. We have a very special guest. You can't see her, but the folks on live can. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever, however you are joining us. This is the I Speak Jeep podcast presented by SFJ4x4.com. And my name is Neil with Simpson Family Jeeps. This is episode 79. And I am joined...
It's actually episode 80.
It is episode 80. What happened to 78.5?
Well, you can't actually do half episodes on the uploads, so you have to do full episode numbers. We called it episode 78.5, but it was actually 79.
Wow. Well, the producer just schooled me. I had no idea. All right, who are you? While you're schooling me.
Oh, I'm Jeff Shermani,
There
the
you are.
Italian stallion and producer.
Oh, I'm just reminding you. I'm producer.
I'm still trying to get our comments. There's comments coming in already. I
And
haven't even opened it.
Here's the thing, folks. If you have made it this far, I am just graced. If you've listened to any of the previous podcasts, you will know that there is one individual who does not watch any podcasts. And that individual is my gleaming, beautiful wife, Jennifer Lynn Simpson. And she is on the podcast today.
Good morning.
Good morning, right? Not just on the comments, right?
Right.
Now, it's also valuable to know that we're joined by my stud of a son back here. Do you want to say good morning?
Morning.
And he's just joining in for a brief second. And I just figured it would not be, advantageous for a 10-year-old, especially with Ryan Simons cussing up a storm last episode.
Man, yeah.
We had to bleep that out, Ryan.
I don't even know if I got all of it censored.
I'm looking
there
at
was
you.
so many times I'm going through. I'm like, I got to censor that one, censor that. I should have started writing notes down as we were doing it.
We could
I have a note sheet from now on, just
That's right.
so I can edit
well,
stuff.
and anytime Chuck starts talking about girthy nature,
Oh,
right,
yeah.
which
Well-
is perfectly fine. But then I have to go like, I'm sorry, Leo, like don't repeat that for Daddy.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, or Ryan's, Ryan's son, and they're
Oh, and his favorite word.
his favorite
from
word
Bantam.
from Bantam. And if you didn't watch that, you'll want to go back and watch episode 78.5 or apparently 79. I don't know.
So this morning so far, Kristen's logged in, was laughing at us with our intro.
That's fine.
TJ Powell saying hi.
Good morning, TJ.
Brad Davis said good morning, folks.
Hey, Brad.
And then Kristen said hello, family.
Hey.
And
Hi,
then
everyone.
Ken said morning.
Morning.
There we go. Yeah, it's we have a lot going on in the SFJ lifeline, right?
Yes.
So the balance of work and family is kind of critically important to to how we operate. And so you've had a lot of life happen.
Too much in the last few days, yeah.
Too much, which we're going to talk about because there's a lot of an outpouring of support.
Yes.
And so that's it's obviously important to address whatever you'd like to, and then you'll notice the mad scientist is not joining us today. Jen is much cuter. That's part of the support. So I'm okay with that. But ultimately,
I honestly, we're going to find out too. Are you more emotional and energetic than Scott? Or are you going to talk like this the whole time?
this is him on adrenaline at this moment. He is so excited. He's off on he's taking his son to a birthday vacation
On
with
all the
Amy.
adrenaline.
On all of the adrenaline. That's,
Yeah, I think I could be a a little bit more energetic than that.
You could be a little bit. All right, that's
I
fine.
think.
That's fine.
We'll see.
We'll
My
s-
goal. So, of course, one of my superpowers is overthinking everything. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna be real. Probably not gonna watch it afterwards. I'm just gonna try to be real and make it through.
Make it through.
That's what happens.
That
Yep.
is what happens. And
I think
and
the only one of us that actually goes back and rewatches it is me while I'm doing the edits, and even then, I'm just like trying to skip through and make sure
and
I'm getting the.
God love Davey and Jeffrey for having to watch us over and over again. I don't know. That's fine.
But I see like there's an agenda here, and I'm like,
This isn't
Well,
our
that's
agenda.
that's from the last podcast.
That's from the last
I'm like,
podcast.
I didn't
That's
get it
from the-
switched
no
out.
one prepared me. I was like, yeah, whatever.
Nope,
I'm just
nope,
gonna
we'll just
wait.
No,
do that.
don't look at that one. That's
Oh,
from the
okay.
American Hustle.
I feel better
which-
now because I'm like, geez.
No. There was that's from the American Hustle, and we were shooting that this morning. We were forcing ourselves. Sometimes you just have to dig deep and force ourselves into creating something.
Yep.
And a number of conversations that is pertinent to. Happened over the weekend, and sometimes we have to do things that are unpleasant, and we just have to grin and bear it,
Yep.
right? And that's ultimately how we were approaching the American Hustle recording this morning. It was okay, and then
Yep.
we had to cash out customers, and we had life happen. So
Yep.
Scott is off today, supporting his family. Many blessings, and I hope they have a wonderful experience, kind of a birthday, trip for their son, for their oldest.
Happy birthday, Aiden.
Yeah,
Yes,
happy birthday, Aiden. Yeah,
there's
for sure.
already more energy in this room right now
What's the date?
than
It's actually, I don't think it's his birthday yet.
It was
It's the
yesterday.
it was yesterday.
What's today's date?
I don't know.
26?
26. It was
Oh,
25th.
yeah, it was
It was
yesterday.
25th.
Happy belated birthday, Aiden.
There you go. There you go. So Jeffrey, do you wanna share with us what's going on in your life, or at what extent? Because obviously, people who are acquainted with us, following us on our social pages, you will have seen this already.
And a lot of them did reach out personally. It was an amazing amount of support. So last week, Thursday evening, Kristen had left for work, and the kids were out back playing in our yard like they normally would. I was outside with them for a few minutes. I went inside, and I was actually working on the American Hustle at the time, trying to get that uploaded.
Sure.
So I went upstairs to make sure that it was finished processing, and as I got up there, Morgan came running in right behind me. So within minutes of me leaving outside, just in a full panic, saying it was urgent. So I came running downstairs. Xander was already in the house as well, holding his hand over his eye. It was a horrific scene, to say the least. It was something that because of my responder years, I had enough sense in me to get him rushed right to the hospital, not even try an ambulance or anything. I just knew it would be faster, and that situation had to be. So quickly threw all three kids in the Jeep. We floored it down to the hospital. And then the dad switch kicked in, and the first responder was gone.
Yeah. That calm collection at first. I'm sure it was. No parent wants to be.
I don't know that it
involved in
was calm collection, but it was still enough to know the right things, and that was years of training and experience. It wasn't anything that you can be prepared for.
Sure.
And even then, I struggled through that, but I knew what I had to do, and I got it done. And then we got him to the hospital. Kristen was at work in a area where she had no reception, so I'm blowing up her phone the whole way as I'm flying to the hospital. I called her 28 times before it finally connected to her.
Oh boy.
So that didn't help my panic. She finally did connect, and I told her, it's bad. You need to leave work right now. Just meet us at the hospital. He may have lost an eye.
Sure.
So she came rushing straight to the hospital, got there pretty much with only a few minutes to spare before they loaded him on an ambulance to take him to Cleveland for Rainbow Hospital, which, by the way, their staff, everybody, the whole hospital, ACMC here in Ashtabula and Rainbow out in Cleveland, they were all amazing.
Yeah, big shout out to those hospital systems.
Absolutely. They actually were going to life fly him. It was that critical, but they had an ambulance on standby already.
Sure.
So they said it would be faster than waiting for the chopper to take him ALS. Because I was not in first responder mode, they were talking in code, and I heard all this, and I said to Xander, hey, buddy, you're going to get to go ride in an ambulance with lights and siren. And they all kind of stop and look at me and like, what?
Sure.
How did you know?
They were trying to have a cryptic conversation,
Yep.
and you were in on it at that point.
Yep. So that was entertaining to that point. Xander was happy to go with lights and sirens. Kristen rode with, because I thought that she would be the more emotional one, and it would be better for her to be in the ambulance with him and
Sure.
me drive to Cleveland afterwards. I was wrong. I was the more emotional one.
Sure.
That was a new chapter in our relationship. She's always been the one that I've been there to support, and she even commented, she's like, it's been nice to actually be the supportive one to you for once.
Interesting.
Because I'm not the emotional one. So
Right. Hard
But-
seeing your child in any type of discomfort.
yeah. And so what had actually happened was they were seeing who could throw the stick the farthest, and they'd taken a couple turns, and then at one point Morgan was swinging one kind of like a baseball bat to get a good full swing, and Xander apparently had stepped forward more than he should have.
Sure.
So the stick came across his eye at an angle. The problem was, and it would have been fine, been like getting hit in the face with a bat. It hurts, but no major trauma.
Sure.
The problem was that this stick actually had a branch that had been broken off of it, so there was a nub, pointy nub about 3/4 of the way up the stick. And based on their explanation of what happened, where I found the stick on our backyard camera, I could actually see them playing. I couldn't see the actual injury, thankfully.
Sure.
But I could see where they were playing, so I went and found the stick where they dropped it, and I could find that piece. And that's everything makes more sense because even at the hospital that night, we couldn't figure out how a stick could do the amount of damage it did.
Right.
So everything made more sense with that. As far as the eye injury goes, it's all up in the air. Friday we have a follow-up appointment with a specialist, and there's a potential that he will lose his eye.
Mm-hmm.
Right now they've stitched everything back together. Both eyelids had to be stitched. The eyeball itself was ruptured through the globe, so all of that's has been sewn together
Sure.
as best as possible. He's on 3 different eye drops, salve for the eye,
Mhm.
plus antibiotics, pain meds.
Sure.
So he's on the works.
Yeah.
The healing, as far as it goes,
How's he feeling? How's he feeling through this?
he's doing good.
Yeah.
He's doing really good. He's a strong kid. Honestly, he's got a great chance of overcoming this without question.
Sure.
Sure. As far as healing and pain, he is in pain, and you can tell when he's in more pain than not. We have to keep reminding him that he needs to rest, because now that his brother and sister went and stayed with Grandma and Grandpa. At first they stayed with Scott, actually. Scott and Amy
Sure.
got them from the hospital for us, so thank you to them.
Mm-hmm.
They kept them the first night, then my parents took them for a night. And then Morgan came home, but our daughter, stayed with my parents, her choice, for a couple more days. But Morgan, over the weekend, has been wanting to play with Xander. Xander wants to play with him, and they're trying to keep up with each other. And you can tell it's putting a lot of extra strain on him. So we keep reminding him, hey, you got to get some rest. You're going to, the more rest you get, the more you take your medicines, the better chance we have.
Sure.
So he's doing really good. The current outcome, it is at best case scenario expected that he will have some shadow or motion in that eye. There's always chance for miracles, and it could be more, but not likely. The realistic thing is that he may never have any vision in that eye again, and he may lose that eye.
Yeah.
It all depends on the healing, how it
Yeah,
goes.
Absolutely.
They said regardless, even if he does maintain some level of vision in that eye, and by technicality right now he technically has a level of vision. They said it's the lowest level. He can see light. He can't tell where the light is,
Yeah.
but he can see light.
Interesting.
That is more than they even expected.
Yeah.
So that's a start.
Pretty substantial damage here to a little kid.
Correct. They kept reminding us that because he's young, he's got a better chance of healing than any of us would.
Sure.
So he keeps reminding, or the doctors kept reminding us of that. They have told us several times that we have to treat it like he's got one good eye going forward.
Yes.
Period. Even if it does continue to improve, we still have to continue as if he's only ever going to have one good eye.
Right.
So they're telling us to make him wear glasses when he's in the house, just to keep protection on that eye. He's got perfect vision in the good eye. But as far as the outside play, they want him to wear safety goggles.
Sure. Yeah, that's
So-
right. 'Cause now we're down to one, right? Now we're down to one. We don't want to jeopardize that.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, so going into it, Xander's been really super excited about our fireworks show that we do every year. And so, me processing, knowing, hey, normalcy things, we got to try to keep things as normal as possible for him, keep him involved and happy. After the surgeon came out and talked with us for a couple hours, she was in surgery for a couple hours, and then I think we talked to her for another hour afterwards while we were waiting on Xander to recover or to wake up. And they said that the fireworks show would be allowed. They're like, as long as certain safety things are met, and I told them what we take for safety precautions as it is, and she said, yeah, just make sure he's wearing safety goggles as well, and obviously hearing protection, because now his hearing's elevated too. So all the loud noises, loud conversations bother him, but I think that's just going to be a transition period. But so he does get to do the fireworks show. Everybody in my family was offering that we cancel or rearrange or reschedule, whatever. And I said, nope, we're keeping it. The dates.
Yeah, try and keep some normalcy in the in your life.
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt. And obviously, this is a great moment to talk. We're in a really interesting kind of position as a Jeep family, as an outreach, because we actually have a growing YouTube channel with Daddy Jeep Garage.
Yeah.
And Rob is a great supporter and us of him. Xander literally got to meet Rob in person,
at
almost
Bantam.
serendipitously at
Yep.
Bantam. And so those of you who are attending Bantam, Xander was hanging out with Jeff on Sunday and had an opportunity, oddly enough, to hang with Rob
And go wheeling with him.
And so funny enough, so the thing is, and this is a conversation that kind of predates any of this happening, but I was talking to Rob of Daddy Jeep Garage and at Bantam, and we were talking about the fact that he does actually only have one eye, and typically speaking, I won't ever bring that kind of stuff up initially, right? It's just the social norming. It's not something. And he turns to me and goes, if somebody has an 8-ball where their eye should be, they probably are okay talking about it.
He did. I overheard that part.
And I said, okay, well, that's fine. I'm still not going to jump out and bring it up, But what an interesting situation. And Rob kind of immediately reached out to you.
Yeah.
So,
he
kudos.
did. Thank you to him. And I'd already literally told Xander and reminded Xander. Xander didn't even know that he had a fake eye. So we talked about that a little bit. And with the potential that could eventually happen to him. We don't know yet. And I said, I think you and Rob are going to become good buddies. And then it was like within an hour of that Rob just reached out randomly. So
yeah, kudos to him.
It was amazing. And just in general, the support of our customers have reached out. Darla, we're building a Jeep for, and I'm sorry to all the Jeep groups out there, but she has blasted our story on every single group that I could ever picture.
She's been fantastic.
She's been a huge support. Freedom Crawlers are doing something for us.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of very close folks, jump out and offer support and and reaching out in the most overflowing in positive ways possible.
Yeah,
super
it's
cool.
Almost more emotional the amount of support we're getting.
Yes.
So the Kristen just put on. He laid himself down to rest this morning without needing to be reminded, and Morgan even made him a healthy smoothie too.
Nice.
And then she said, thank you to the Simpson family. You guys stopped and dropped your stuff to help us out Thursday night as well.
Oh, yeah. That's fine. That's
because you guys actually came and got my truck for me. You did a lot.
Not a big deal. Not a big deal. So, yeah, it was. It's been a roller coaster. So when we usually take this time to do our personal updates, talk about fun camper builds or house builds or metalworking that the mad scientist is doing. A little more sombering moment. A good reminder. We're fortunate that it's not any worse than it was.
Yes,
realistically.
We were concerned when they said that it ruptured all the way through the eye. That they said they had to do CT scans and make sure it didn't get into the brain, and then there's more paranoia and panic going on.
Yes.
At one point they had said it appeared everything was fine and there was no fractures of the orbital socket or anything like that, and then the medical team, which I feel bad because I might have got some residents in trouble on accident.
Mm-hmm.
The residents came in and were checking on him in the morning on Friday morning. Yeah, Friday morning they were checking on him, and we mentioned that he was in some discomfort. And they said, "Well, we've got him on the Tylenol right now. We don't really want to put him on morphine at the moment." And it's like, okay, you guys know what's best, but he's visibly uncomfortable. He's stirring in his sleep. He's not sleeping well. And I said, we'll assess it as we go. Okay. Well, then the whole medical team, there's all the residents, the lead doctor and everything, was going around doing their rounds in the morning, and they invited us into the meeting for his chat through. And the doctor asked me, he goes, well, how's Xander doing? I said, well, he's been pretty uncomfortable this morning, but otherwise he's doing really good. And he looks at the residents, and he's like, why is he uncomfortable? And the residents are like, well, we've got him on Tylenol right now. He's like, why is he only on Tylenol?
Sure.
We can give him something. He should not be in pain.
Yeah, right.
And kind of lit up the residents for a minute, and I was like, oh,
yeah.
oops.
Yeah, well, it's good that they were able to kind of remedy that and get him, some rest and comfort there, because I couldn't imagine how excruciatingly painful that might be.
Well, and we've got, I've got a lot of medical people in my family, and my one uncle's a doctor, and I was talking with him about that, and he said a lot of it comes down to the overuse of that medicine.
Yes.
So especially newer residents and doctors are more paranoid to use that. But in this situation, it's the time that you need to use the heavier medicines because it's a short term. It's not like he's going to be on it for long.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the challenge with knowing, how we gauge this world we're living in, where painkillers have become, arguably
taboo.
Yeah, a little overused or a little. There's a little pushback saying, okay, we inundated our society a little bit with this, so now they're pulling back. Sometimes they pull back a little too much. Fortunately, I think they found a happy medium, got him comfort.
They did, yes. They ended up giving him a little bit of morphine right before they did his next eye exam, and that was when they said that he does still have some light in there because he detected light pre-surgery, and then they didn't expect him to continue to detect light, but he did detect light during that appointment or that exam as well.
Yeah.
So we were released from the hospital Saturday. It was a little confusing and touch and go at first because they told us, the optometrist said his eyes cleared to go. They weren't supposed to come in until noon. They came in at 10.
Mm-hmm.
They told us that his eyes cleared, and we're just waiting on the hospital staff to release him with medications and everything. And then it was like 1 or 2 o'clock. They're like, I was like, so what time do you think we're going to be able to go? They're like, oh, you guys aren't leaving. You're staying another night.
Yeah.
I'm like, well,
I remember you had called, we had talked as well, and you had felt that at that time.
And then, so I asked what was going on with that, and they're like, well, the optometrist still has to clear it. I'm like, the optometrist did clear us to leave. What it's so that? Well, he really hasn't ate much, so we're thinking we want to keep him another night. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that's
sure.
This is a nurse telling me this, but all the doctors, everybody else has all told us we were leaving this afternoon. So we're like, okay, now we got to make arrangements for the animals at home to be fed. We got to do this. We got to do that.
Sure.
We're trying to process all that. And then they come in like 15 minutes after that. Okay, here's your release papers. We're waiting on medications to come up from the pharmacy, and then you'll be out of here. And we're like, what?
Yeah.
And then, so we ended up being home around 5 o'clock, I think.
Yeah, I saw that escalated quickly from where we had talked.
Yeah.
I think it's valuable, folks. You're listening. If you're seeing this shared around all the local Jeep groups, or even some of the national Jeep groups, this is the story. This is from the proverbial horse's mouth, right? Yeah. And so it's valuable that if that there is obviously a GoFundMe, and you'll see that shared around, that the extent of the story, right? I think that's so valuable that this is the origin, the source, and we wish Xander the best in a speedy recovery.
Oh yeah, he's surprisingly doing great. The hospital gave him a Lego kit. Not a cheap Lego kit. He got a big Lego kit.
Sure.
And it was for those that are familiar with it, Super Mario Brothers Legos.
Okay.
It's like this buildable kit, and then it's virtual reality too. You connect. If you get the starter courses, it comes with these characters.
Yeah.
And it's got a QR reader on it that pairs to your phone, and you walk around with the character on the Legos, and it is an interactive Lego experience. So it's really, really unique. So this was an expansion kit, didn't come with any characters. My sister immediately is like, all right, well, I'm sending him the Mario starter course because my kids have this and they love it.
Sure.
I picked up the Luigi one for him. Then my brother and his wife picked up the Princess Peach starter course, so he's got all the characters now.
Yeah, now he's got them all.
And then they got him the Princess Castle too, so he's got literally this massive collection of them. We built through the first set from the hospital and the Luigi set. Those were his choices. And so that's just seeing his smiles as he's building that has been awesome.
Cool.
And then he was playing with a remote control car, which that picture is out there of him smiling, playing with that. And every smile's worth it at this moment.
That's right.
So it's just a wonderful experience as far as post-care goes and how he's doing. But overall, it's very traumatic. And, my brother and sister, we were on a family group call because my sister's in Guam. So we were just on the phone with everybody at the same time on conference call, and they're like, "Well, we're gonna set you up a GoFundMe." I'm like, "No, we're not doing that." And they're like, "You're gonna have a lot of expenses." I said, "Well, we've got insurance, and it should cover a lot of this." And they're like, "You've got travel expenses, you've got this, you've got that. We're setting it up for you. We don't care." And I was hesitant at first because I don't like to ask for help, but I'm accepting it at this point.
Yeah, that's right. That's how we process. Well, thank you for sharing your story with us. In kind of continuing with that family theme, part of obviously inviting Jen on. You can step off if you want, buddy. When part of inviting Jen on, and again, continue that family theme, was talking about some Jeep adventures, right? And so, talking about Rob and Xander and Bantam and that, and kind of relating it back to these folks that are influential in our lives. I thought it would be fun for people, both in the listening land and the viewing land, to be able to actually see and hear my wife that I talk about. We all talk about our wives. We all know Kristen and Amy are great supporters on the actual
They watch all the episodes.
They watch all the episodes.
Yep. I hear you. I'm reading between those lines.
And my wife is so valuable. And of course, Amy's been around through the whole.
I just support you in different ways.
That's 100% correct. That is 100% correct.
So you're focusing on what I don't do.
We're going to talk about.
I'm going to make her feel a little better. Kristen does not actually watch every episode, and oftentimes she'll log in for a little bit to make me think she's watching, and then she's gone.
Okay.
Oh, I love when Kristen side texts you and it's like, "You sound like crap."
Yeah. You know? Oh yeah, she'll do that too. She's really good at logging in for the beginning to let us know if the audio's bad, and I'm like, "Oh, thanks. Let me fix that."
I'm not even home most Mondays.
No, you're right. And Jennifer is employed as an educator, in the public school system, and so she is typically not able to schedule the fake meetings that many of our other customers,
which we appreciate.
And those of you who turn it on the assembly lines or in your office space when you're playing it during during that morning portion, we value that, right? So Jen doesn't have that ability.
No,
but you and I have been through the thick of things. We have done some Jeep stuff.
Our whole life is like off-roading, honey.
our whole life.
It could be like the metaphor. Not only do you own this business, but our whole life. We just off-road.
That's a
and
great
we're never
metaphor.
Gonna learn.
Jeeping our way. We're never going to learn.
No.
You get broke.
No.
You get stuck.
And then you do it again.
And then you.
She's not wrong. I mean, that is 100% spot on.
That was.
And we married each other.
I'm sorry.
We both have
Yeah.
Yep.
So, a couple things I'm gonna prime you to think about. Now, I knew about this last night when I asked you, but I just thought, can you think of a off-roading experience that stands out to you with us, good, bad, or otherwise? And then
I'm excited to hear your version of the stories that Neil.
I think that's what a lot of people have wanted to hear or are aware of, right? Because there is a number of situations that I may or may not have gotten us into, and somehow
we always come out though. I mean,
right. We stronger, better through it. We upgrade, right?
Yep.
We learn to upgrade.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Jeep adventures, like where
so
the
I
Jeep
feel
has
like
taken
I
us.
have to start off with when I first met you.
Yes.
There were two things I couldn't mess with. It didn't matter like what else was going on. I knew not to mess with Jeeps. Your
Okay.
Jeep.
Yep.
And I knew not to mess with football.
Okay.
And that was it. Everything else was fair game.
I could mess with everything else.
Why are we so similar? Kristen said the same thing.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
So
All right.
wait. No. I gotta go way back. To
way back. She's going to contextualize.
Beginning.
See, this is what I do, folks.
Yeah.
This is going to be the story that I want to hear.
Oh, okay.
So we were at Allegheny. I don't even know if I was at Allegheny yet.
Okay.
But we were at Allegheny, and you had your white Jeep.
Allegheny was our college, by the way, folks who
yeah.
are listening
Yeah.
in who may not be familiar with the area.
This is actually where I met Neil and
Yes.
how we met. But not this particular day.
Okay.
But okay, so I get in Neil's Jeep, and we're in the parking
What
lot.
is my Jeep at that point in time?
It's a white Wrangler
Okay, good.
with leopard. It had like leopard.
Well, okay, wait, we don't have
accents.
to go any further, folks. That's all right.
Leopard print, huh?
Yep.
Well, really?
You're welcome.
Didn't see that one coming.
See? Careful what you wish
That's
for.
right. That's right. All right, Joe,
For those
I
that can't see, Neil's a little red right
I
now.
can't confirm or deny. The leopard print at the time
I was
made
like,
a lot of
ooh,
sense.
He's a wild one.
That's you see, leopard print at the
I don't know
time-
that I would have thought the same
Oh
thing
my
about
god,
that. But
it works so good for
Uh,
attracting girls. Let's just be honest. It was the 90s, and girls like leopard print, and I was like a flag I,
feel
cast
like
out into
I
the
feel
world.
like
and I
girls
caught
like
one.
leopard print, but when guys had it, it was like, what?
Yeah.
What?
No, I agree with you. I'm there. It's okay.
Yeah, but I
No,
was,
no, there's no coming
I
back
was
from that.
casting a net, and
There- no. No,
I
you-
caught some fish.
That's
I
right.
caught a real good fish.
right.
You
Oh
caught
my
a
God.
fish, and you got the right one. You got the right one. You got lucky.
Ouch.
No, I'm saying you're the
I
right
know.
one. He got
The
lucky.
only one, apparently.
The only one. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, so we get into his Jeep and we're in this parking lot, and he goes, "Oh, I don't have reverse." So I just remember
Wow,
like,
you remember this, huh?
off-roading to get out of the parking lot because you can drive in reverse.
I did not have reverse. That's right. So
Yeah.
that would have been your senior year in high school,
Yeah.
my freshman year in college, because I spent most of my freshman year playing Grand Theft Auto and researching how to upgrade my cruddy BA10 in my 87 Wrangler to an AX15. At that time, that wasn't super commonplace. It was a reputable thing that people were doing, but it's where I spent most of my, while all the other college students were actually attending lecture and, working on their math that they didn't fail.
Good thing I saved you.
That's probably true. That's probably, I wrote your papers, but you saved me in
That is
general.
not true.
So
Oh boy.
I did all of the
Real quick, I want to catch you up on comments because
Oh,
some of these
sure.
are good. Maurice is saying, "Oh, I'm excited about this when we first started talking about it,"
Oh, Maurice is on. Okay, hello, good morning.
and then
Morning, Maurice.
Maurice continues, "It's a white giant Jeep that you were dating at the time, and no, it didn't attract girls. You were dating that Jeep." And then
So true. Hence why I couldn't mess with it.
Brad said, "Leopard print never makes sense."
It was a different time. Come on now, folks. It was a different time, and I had a lot of lights. I was the definition of not light bars before locker. I was the definition of light bars before lockers. Because hence I had all these lights.
It is so odd to think about that based
Yes.
on your functional mindset now.
Yes. It's almost like I'm trying to atone for my sins of when I was younger, I think. There's somewhere in there's like a superhero story, but I had all these lights on it and leopard print interior, all the stereotypical things a teenager who definitely was trying to attract women, not other Jeeps, would do to their vehicle. And you're right, that BA10, that 5-speed transmission, did not have reverse by the time that I went to college, and it had a very hilly terrain. I was doing a lot of the work on the Jeep myself at the time, and a couple other good mentors in the mechanical industry. But I would intentionally pick spots that I could drive through.
Yes.
And
That is absolutely
oftentimes they were up hills or around trees or
Through the woods.
and,
One of our earliest dates, we were on a double date, and we were like, "Hey, let's go off roading and then go get something to eat, maybe catch a movie." And then we got stuck in the woods.
that was a really abbreviated version. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I believe.
That was a very abbreviated version of your version of it.
Yeah, most people.
Yours
have
was
heard-
like, we went over this, we ramped through this, we got
Right.
in detail.
Well, okay,
She's
let's
just
be
like,
fair.
yeah, we went in
Jen
the
was
woods and got
heels.
stuck. It's
She was
over.
This is why.
Heels.
This is why she is a good fit for me, because that is her. Another person that was her interpretation. Another person would have been like, "It was horrible."
They would have given
And
more
we
than your version of it.
hiked out of the woods and I broke my heels and blah blah blah. Jen's
I
like,
did not break my heels.
no, I know you
I'm a
didn't,
champ.
but I'm saying that's how somebody else would have experienced it. Jen's like, it's super nonchalant. Oh yeah, we didn't make it to the movies, and instead we bogged the Jeep down in the back of the woods in the
I
dark.
totally bonded and got to know everybody. Like,
Yeah, and that couple
It's
never
like a
spoke to us
party.
again. That couple never
that's
spoke.
not true.
And
She talked to me a little bit after.
a little bit.
They did not talk to me.
Brad said apparently light bars before reverse. And then Marie,
Leopard print and light bars, folks.
now I want to know the context of how Maurice fits into this because
Why
Maurice is saying
Maurice on this
we're-
podcast right now, folks.
he goes, we aren't going to talk about that lift kit. I couldn't get into the Jeep at 5'6", lol.
Maurice, for those who are listening in and obviously who are watching it right now or in the comments with him, is my childhood best friend. He is a decorated author, podcast, and prophet within his church as well. So
We love you, Maurice.
Yep, we love Maurice.
Yes.
He's like a pastor, person within his church. So if you're looking for some fantastic inspiration and maybe some dirty secrets of mine, he's the guy.
I'm starting to catch that. I'm reading the comments,
Yeah.
looking for those now.
He's the guy
I'm
that
also
you're
pretty
going to want to
sure
hook up with.
Maurice really liked me, and you know how you've got to like impress the other person's friends. Like Maurice, I think, kept me in the game too.
There was some side conversation. You were destined from the beginning, but that's what that sums her up. The fact that traumatic wheeling experience.
He goes, no pastoring, just dirty Neil secrets.
Perfect. That's great. That's a great start, folks. No reverse, leopard print, and lots of light bars.
I've learned so much more about you in the last 5 minutes than I have in 2 years of working with you.
Family time. That's yay. Bring your family to the party. This is good. Yeah. No, you know what, folks? If you're asking me to build your Jeep, understand that I have done all the stupid things that I am encouraging you not to do, right? So there was a conversation amongst our Patreons the other day. I really appreciated the insight there, and they were like, yeah, Neil tends to tell me when I'm making bad choices.
I was cracking up,
and I just thought it's from a position of I have done all the dumb things. I promise you that, right? I have, and
I can't even count on one hand or two. Or, my toes as well. How many times we've gotten stuck. Like, Neil would be like, let's go out, let's go jeeping, let's go four-wheeling. And I'd be like, I'm just going to pack everything for the whole day because we're going to get stuck and I'm going to need to eat.
Yep.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, there's a lot of learning curve there. There's a lot of learning curve. So you remember the 87 YJ. Obviously that's the big Wrangler, and that's the one that Scott always kind of affectionately talks about, the fact that I was on 35s. And again, this is the 90s. 35s were 40s or 42s by that time. Nobody had that big of a tire on a Wrangler. They were running 31, 33s.
Right.
If you're Scott, they're 31.95s on his 15-inch wheels. That's classic Scott.
Yeah.
That's what he was running.
Oh.
I was running 35s on a YJ. Hence why the transmission broke, folks. Because it's just wasn't suitable. It wasn't up to the task. What Jeep of ours? See how I use that pluralism there?
Mm-hmm.
What Jeep of ours do you think has been the biggest hoopty? That
God, I can't believe you're gonna make me pick.
Wow.
There were that many. Like, do you know how long it took for me to be like, my vehicle will be a Jeep? And now that I have a Jeep and it's a nice one, I'm like, okay, I could have done that sooner.
Oh my gosh,
However,
it's so funny, folks, because quite frankly,
what he put me through.
the reality of the derelict pieces of junk that I would bring home. And I would.
Our biggest fight was over that green Jeep.
So tell us about that green Jeep. What do you remember about that one?
What was the green
You made me
Jeep?
drive it.
You made me drive it.
He comes home one day and he's like, "Oh, honey, I got this Jeep." And I'm like, "What?" Like,
so wait a second, folks. Let me contextualize this.
Wait.
So there it is. So
I'm gonna first ask. Ryan Simons just did this to his wife.
Yes.
About 2 years ago.
Yes.
Is this the same kind of premise?
Oh,
Show up in the driveway with this raggedy piece.
So hear this out, folks. Hear this out, folks. So I thought that I was, I thought that I was going to be charming. We grew up in this age of indulgence where we saw the commercials on, growing on cable as we grew up with the car with the big bow on it and whatnot. So I worked very hard. Now, I'm going to say
Wait,
this.
what
I
was
don't
this?
mean this.
Did you have the music playing too? Because every commercial when we were kids had music playing
Oh,
with it. So.
right. No. This is just. I'm contextualizing.
I'm
This
so
comes back
worried
to
you're
a
gonna
car.
tell this-
I'm telling the car
it-
story.
No.
So, folks, understand. I have always been a little bit of a different breed of character, right?
I'm
And
gonna
that's
come
just.
off as such an awful person, people. You need to know that I am a very loving person, and I suppose if I have to say it, doesn't mean it's true. But I really don't want you to tell this story.
Listen, here's the thing. I'm not,
Loving and
despite
grateful.
what most people, want to contextualize when they see ownership conversations, I am a person who has no comfort zone, no boundaries, and I sacrifice everything, right? Understand that is the nature of who I am at a core. When I turned 18, most people ran out and bought adult-based stuff. Let's call it that. Lotto tickets, cigarettes, adult content material, whatever. I went out and I opened a Roth IRA. I promise you that is a true story. Okay? I worked very
Nerd.
hard. Totally. I worked very hard for where I was at and what I
we
was
still
doing.
do.
And
I mean-
well, we carry that through to
Yeah.
what we
And we
have
hope
here.
to teach
With
our
that
children.
said, through college, I was in a position where as a graduation present for my fiance. Now, this is a girl that Jennifer and I met when we were 17, 18. Consistency is key in success. That's also a big belief that I have, right? Stay the course. I was in a position that I bought Jennifer a convertible Sebring, Chrysler Sebring convertible car.
Because I always wanted a convertible.
Black
so, like,
on black.
He was doing. No, it was silver.
Well, the top was black, the leather
Oh,
interior
okay.
was black, and it
I'm
was
like,
this
it was
beautiful.
like sparkly silver.
It
It was
was
the
spark-
most beautiful car.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Why do I
And-
feel like that's not what you said at the time?
And I brought it home, and my mom, who's always been a pivotal player, and we built this bow, that classic cable TV commercial bow, and we put it on the hood, and we parked it in such a way that it was illuminated at night. And
For all you women out there, this is like some of your dreams come true, right? like imagine like seriously what you would see on TV, like this dream scenario.
like I said, what music did you have playing in the background?
right, and then we didn't, right, and that was the only piece. And this was happening before you graduated or right after you
it
graduated?
was right after I graduated.
Was it right after or was it right before graduation so that you had it for the week of senior week and graduation?
You know, Neil, I was so mad at you. I don't even remember.
So tell us, why were you mad at me? Why?
Because I didn't earn it, and I was so mad that you went out and you bought it for me.
Yes, yeah, that was the crux of the issue, was that I gifted you a vehicle.
I might cry right now.
Oh no, I know. Don't cry on us. So I recognize that I should not go out and just buy her a vehicle. But I didn't actually I didn't commit that to memory.
There is more, and I am refusing to say it right now.
Okay.
All you listeners, you're in trouble.
I'm in trouble. Okay. So there's more to the
Continue
convertible car?
Yes.
Oh, I don't remember
That's
more
it.
apparently.
Go ahead.
All right. So then comes the green Jeep. That was the context for the green Jeep
And
because
it wasn't. I don't think the green Jeep was next. I think
no. We had
No.
multiple vehicles.
because
in
you had
between
that
there.
red one that you would bring down to the beach.
Yep.
Remember when I was a lifeguard?
Yep.
You had that one.
That's not a hoopty though. We still have that one.
What?
Did you just reveal secrets?
No.
Did you try to hide that on our new property too?
No. No.
That was funny when we found out about the car that was hiding.
Like I wasn't gonna see it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's out there?
There's nothing out there.
You saw that?
No, you didn't see that. There's nothing on Scott's property.
I was going
either.
to say, all you have to do is walk to Scott's backyard and
I
you'll
was
find the
gonna
rest
say,
of them.
Scott, does Scott still have that convertible?
No,
Okay.
we scrapped that convertible. We scrapped the convertible. No, eventually I show up with that.
Maurice does want to see some tears from Neil, not from you.
Eventually I show up with that green XJ because honestly I wanted it for myself, but I bought it under the
I really
guise.
appreciate that you are saying that because in our 20 years that has never come out of your mouth.
Oh, we're making breakthroughs
Wow.
today. We're having breakthroughs today.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
It's probably to keep me from crying.
So I buy this green XJ because that's going to be your winter vehicle.
God, because we were living in that awful, awful Harrisville cabin.
It was a cute cabin.
It was super cute. I loved it. Aside from the winter,
It was very cold.
I love that little place.
Yes, and you needed a 4x4.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful property.
You needed a 4x4.
I don't think that green Jeep qualified as a 4x4.
What?
Wow.
What? That was a beautiful
I
XJ.
couldn't get myself out of the snow when there was like no ice. I could not. No.
I think that's user error. I think that
absolutely
was that
not.
was.
I'm a fantastic driver. Thank you. It's probably part of why you married
I
me.
think she's a better driver than you from
She
the
is
stories
a-
I hear.
So I kid you not. Here's I'm in the let's go back to the big white Jeep. I had this kind of, this monster when we first met, and it was I had
think
done
he
the engine
misses it.
swap. You know what? I don't miss I don't miss anything about it, honestly.
You
It
kept
can-
tabs on it for a long time.
He
though.
misses the
Like,
leopard print.
So I had done an engine swap. There's actually
Chuck and leopard print.
Chuck Norris.
Davey, if you're listening, we need to make this happen.
I'm concerned because I think that Chip and Aaron will unfortunately make like a graphic with like red flannel and
Oh,
leopard
they're
print.
absolutely
You know
going
what
to.
I mean? And
It's
that's
going to say
show
Jeep
up.
on, but it's going to be leopard print. It's just
Leopard
randomly
print.
show up on the back of your.
Oh,
Oh, this is
no.
going to be great.
Oh no,
Chip, let's make this happen.
So we were first dating, and I had this big monster white Wrangler, and I'd done the engine swap. Hopped up the engine a little bit, and we were hammered home from college up here. We were still dating. I think you were going to be leaving early, and I was feeling pretty bold, and I was hammered down, and I actually had called her because I had kind of pulled away from traffic. I had, may or may not have exceeded the posted limits represented on the road and whatnot.
By a lot of it.
And
I know nothing about that.
No. And I call this, this young hottie that I'm dating, and I, for whatever reason, think that, beating the speed limit and, all this kind of stuff is somehow going to, be redeeming. And I call her and I said, well, you probably lost sight of me. I want to call and give you directions so that, you don't get too far
Lost.
behind and get lost. And she responded back with, well, why would I need that? And in the most like Cars 3 esque, where you have the Garcia, the yellow little hot rod car.
Oh, yeah.
What is her name? Anyways,
I can't remember it.
whatever her name is, and then Lightning McQueen. And I'm feeling real tough, and I'm like, well, I'm just kind of hammered down, like Hammertown, and I'm cruising.
And then she cruises past you.
And she's like, I'm right behind you. And like, sure enough, it was just, she was following so closely behind that she was in my 6. And I could barely make out. She was driving a black 2-door Cutlass at the time. I could barely make out her car, but she was.
Oh, because you were so much higher.
I was so much higher,
Yep.
and she was so like tucked in right behind my Jeep. Every move I was making, she was making it right behind me. We were hammered down on these well paved back roads, and I was like, "Oh my god, I want that one." She's
Trying to underestimate.
I know, right? I was no underestimation here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was a great one. But so you are a very good driver.
Thank you.
It was one of the things that I was absolutely attracted to. And you have actually driven Chuck
Hey,
Norris.
wait a second. You got to tell everyone about my parallel parking because that is top
That's
notch.
what you're most proud of.
It really
That's what
is,
you're
though.
most proud of is your parallel parking, huh? What would you tell about that?
My parallel parking?
Yeah,
I used to have like my own course. Like I taught my sister how to parallel park.
your own
You
course.
set
My
up your own course.
Parallel park. Yes.
Well, she's from Pittsburgh, and those of our customers and listeners who are from some of those more densely populated area, those urban
I
spaces.
can parallel park on both sides of the road.
You are actually an excellent parallel parker.
Thank
That
you.
is
I will take
actually
that
true.
That is a win for me.
Kristen just chimed in. The name of the car's Cruise.
Cruz. Yeah, Cruz
was it?
Ramirez. Cruz Ramirez.
There you go.
Cruz Ramirez.
And I was thinking Fast and Furious, not the Cars 3 movies, which I love.
Oh, So you love the Cars 3, but you were thinking Fast and Furious.
There's
Yeah.
no Lightning McQueen in Fast and Furious.
There's no Lightning McQueen in
No,
Fast and
no.
Furious.
Before you said Lightning McQueen, I really thought you said
Oh,
Fast
Cars
and
3.
Furious.
No, no, it's
I
definitely
said
Cars 3.
Yeah.
I
And
was
I've seen
thinking-
Cars 1 and 2 a million times. I've only seen Cars 3 a couple
Oh my God,
times.
Cars 3 is
Oh,
actually
it's
better.
the best. Yeah,
That's-
that's the best one
I-
in the series.
The kids go through movies so quickly
Sure,
that it's hard
sure.
to keep up. So,
Yeah.
but
all right. So I bring the green Jeep home, which is
Oh
a
my God, we're back to this green Jeep.
rust-free South Carolina
I can't
XJ.
get away from it.
I can't. Been trying to get rid of that Jeep for years at this point. Scott did a Jeep-ectomy in his driveway some years. I think I blew the engine up in it.
I would say based on the statistical record of your vehicles, it's highly probable that you did.
Yes.
Or caught fire. Those
I
are your
did-
options.
So I was going to get to the fire as one of my questions. So I didn't. I did not catch that particular Jeep on fire. That Jeep, I blew the engine up in, and I was in a position where it was a 97 XJ. 97 engines, while they're not distinctly unique in the block and head structure themselves, their wiring is a little unique. There's a couple things going on there, and it benefited me more to part that Jeep out or down. Which always makes Scott cringe. If he was here today, if he was listening, he would be so very sad because it was this beautiful rust-free Cherokee shell at the time.
The green one.
The
We're
green
still
one.
talking about the green one.
We're still talking about the green one. I know. That green one was lower than dirt in your mind.
I know.
And so therefore nothing attainable or redeeming could be offered from it. But
You know what? I just thought about Baby Jeep. So there was this green Jeep, then there was Baby Jeep.
Baby Jeep was interesting as
Yeah.
well. You had to
Mhm.
come rescue me from a snowstorm in Baby. I was in Baby Jeep.
So why is it called Baby Jeep? And I'm almost afraid to ask, but why is it called Baby Jeep?
Well, because he went from all these really large
Oh,
Jeeps
okay.
to like a regular one.
So I
Custom.
have my bucket list of vehicles, and along the way, a 95 YJ was on my bucket list.
Okay.
So we had the opportunity. We bought the 95 YJ out of West Virginia,
hmm
and it was a 6-cylinder, 5-speed. 95. It was technically, if you've ever heard some of my early
That's-
information, I talked about 95.5. Right, so technically speaking, those who are in the Jeep nerd history like myself, there was no Wrangler of the 96 production year. You could never actually buy a 1996 Wrangler. However, you could buy Wranglers through 1996. And it has a lot to do with some technical aspects, which we've talked about in previous podcasts. But Baby Jeep was actually a 95.5. So mainly YJ, but a lot of TJ Wrangler inspiration as far as the aesthetics, the hood, the rear bumper, the sound system, so on and so forth. They had really upchurched the YJ to the best of their ability to finalize the run of it.
So Chuck just chimed in and says, "I'm late. What did I miss?" Chuck, I don't even know where to start. You're gonna have to go back and rewatch this episode.
Light bars and leopard print before lockers, Chuck. That's the best way to share with you, man.
His first girthy Jeep.
My first girthy Jeep.
Had leopard print just for you, Chuck.
That's right. That's right. So, Baby Jeep was that. It was bone stock. So I picked it up with the intention to build it. It eventually goes on 35s and a whole shooting match and of cool aspects. And then I actually wheeled it for a period of time in the early years of the business, before the business. Honestly, it got parted down to pay for and support the business. But yeah, Baby Jeep was one that you had to come rescue with my sister, and you guys brought her big Wrangler out and winched me out of a snowbank or a farmer's field. Sorry, farmer. That that I may or may not have ended up in. Drifted, just accidentally fell off the road.
Listen, if you've never ended up in a cornfield or somebody's farm field driving a Jeep, you're not doing something right in your early years.
In your early years.
In your early years.
We do not recommend that. We do not condone that behavior at this point, folks.
But I think we've all done it in our early years for sure.
It's a rite of passage. I think
it really is.
Unfortunately,
when you have to get pulled out from a field because you've high centered in a snowbank. I mean,
yes,
I've done that a couple times, maybe.
Yes, no doubt. Yeah. So there was Baby Jeep. So there was which one do you remember, or what memory do you have of catching on fire? Do you have any?
I don't remember catching on fire.
Oh, perfect. See, I think
so are all your stories made up?
They're all made up.
Oh, you've been fooling us this whole time.
I think what's fantastic is this is why our relationship works so well.
Because it's all minor stuff.
It's
to her,
all
so
minor stuff.
Gone. It
To
doesn't
her,
happen.
it's minor stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that the main one was Old Blue when we were wheeling Southington off road. And
she remembers that.
Her face.
I saw that face.
Folks who can't see, and our people listening in their ear holes, her face just sunk.
Completely changed.
Just completely changed. She's blocking things out, folks, which is probably to my advantage.
You
right?
just broke down the barrier wall, and now you're in trouble because it's all going to flood back.
She'll forget.
I'm just going to build that wall right back.
Nice. Yeah, it was a minor fire. It was a little smoke. And
well, we always have smoke coming out. I mean, again,
Chuck's making me feel a little better about all my early year driving adventures, and probably your recent year driving adventures that you've done.
Oh,
nobody looks like a chooch more than a cop putting a Crown Vic in a pond. Don't ask.
Oh no. We all have our experiences. We do, and that's the one piece you'll always hear me say, especially if you come in as a customer and you've done something boneheaded. I'll say nobody ever tells stories about when things go perfectly right.
All the best stories are from the incidents that you don't expect to come up on the trails.
Correct. It is the ability
life experiences
to adapt and overcome, is the ability to dig down. Yes, the shirt that I'm wearing, for those who are listening to us, is our adapt and overcome line. Is when we build character? Is that when we build camaraderie? It bonds us.
As long as you grow and learn from it.
What does that mean? I feel like
that just came out of left field,
right?
You've been attacked, and I'm here for it.
I'm here for it. This is why she drives a new, nice, beautiful JL on 37s. That's my growing and learning. I still own Old Blue and the Red Willies and all these other derelict vehicles.
If you don't know, Old Blue is actually where the original podcast for SFJ started.
It did. It was inside Old Blue. It is the origination for the podcast. And it was a little bit of a viral sensation because basically I resurrected this 64 CJ6 from a pasture, from a field.
Oh, yeah.
And
and it looks like it too.
It has character. It's called patina. Yeah, it has patina, and so had a great experience working on Old Blue with my kids. And I eventually Old Blue goes to a number of shows. It actually was the lobby vehicle at the Dayton Off-Road Expo in 18 or 19. It's obviously one on display at Bantam Jeep Heritage Festival. And the beauty of Old Blue was you can't hurt it. Right? It's just a rugged, old, simple 1964 CJ6. If you're unfamiliar with what a CJ6 is, it's the long wheel-based CJ platform. So take the wheel opening of
For those of you who haven't figured out, Neil has a trend of wanting the long Jeeps.
I do.
He needs to compensate, I think.
Oh, yikes.
You just insulted King Cobra.
Oh, King Cobra online. See, you know what? You're going to circle back to the undies pictures.
Oh, no.
For all of those on the social, the undies pictures. It's a thing, Jeff.
I got to learn to keep my mouth
You're
shut.
going to open up a can of worms you're not prepared to digest.
A couple comments too, Maurice, when you were attacking Neil. He said, that is why I've always been a part of her fan club. Kristen did say we use Adapt and Overcome a ton on the family front as well as the Jeep front, especially lately.
That's right. See? Wheeling through life.
Wheeling through life. That's right.
I mean, that is really a great metaphor.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It
Now-
is.
I should probably let you finish your CJ story though.
No. There was really not that much more to it. It was just that's what the nature of Old Blue was. And we were on a family excursion. Old Blue was super cool. It was a 2.5-inch lift kit, 33s, and we were on a family excursion. We had the RV out for the weekend, and we have this really iconic picture. It's really beautiful. Jennifer made a beautiful bouquet of wildflowers, Old Blue, and a big dump truck. And I actually think you took the picture, or at least you set up kind of the perspective. And it's just this really neat.
I think it was at sunset too.
It was at sunset.
It was really
it was a really tough point in our lives, honestly, both personally and professionally,
the dark years.
The dark years, right? The very, very lean, challenging years of business. And that it circles back to that adapt and overcome. But we really made the best of the situation. In that current situation is when Old Blue, we went to do a hill climb together, and the oil from the leaking head gasket came back, thinned out some wires, and it made quite the...
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that...
Suddenly she remembers. I'm sorry.
Suddenly she remembers.
You're going to be in trouble for that later.
Nah.
No, he's not in trouble for that one.
See,
for that
one. For that one. And that, folks, is why I love her. So she's like, we can catch on fire. It's the fact that we typically come out unscathed or stronger is kind of the core of our ability to keep moving forward, to learn from where we've been, and to lay the building blocks for that next big adventure. So we've talked. Go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of adventures, we still have to do the Bantam reveal from last week. We talked about that audio teaser.
Yes.
So I do have over there one of the wheel caps or wheel hubs covers.
Outstanding.
That has the names in it of those that submitted entries.
Well, because I think that instead of hashtag not sponsored, and of course last week I do have to issue a base correction, which we may or may not have done elsewhere.
Correct. We did not get that.
Tool City Jeep Jam is actually August 5th.
Yep.
And so that's our correction, not this weekend or the past week, the weekend that just passed.
Yeah, it was actually they originally had scheduled it for that weekend, and they corrected it to August 5th.
So you will have the Toledo Jeep Festival August 5th. If you are west side of the state, or you want to travel to that place, or if west side of Ohio, but if you're in the area of western Pennsylvania, eastern Ohio, you can also participate in that Tool City Jeep Jam. All of the proceeds go to Cans for Wishes. Nice charitable cause.
Yes, absolutely.
There, and all that information is available. So I think we've covered kind of some origination stories, your own driving. Do you have any interest in wheeling? I think is maybe one of the questions, and people will ask me about you. Do you have any interest in off-roading in your kind of your traditional sense of bouncing around in the woods?
Okay, well, that's a really difficult question because it's kind of loaded.
Okay.
Do I have an interest in wheeling? Yes. Do I think it's fun? Yes. Am I good at it? Yes. Okay, I can probably get better.
Where's the loaded? What?
But
Wow.
every single time something breaks, and I'm not here for that right now.
Interesting. Maybe every single time something breaks, I think maybe she's not as good of a wheeler as she said she is. Maybe that's
Neil, your Jeep breaks every time you drive it.
Oh, that's it.
You
That's it.
are in so much
So much trouble. Folks, I really hope that you enjoyed hearing some of the contrasting stories. I really enjoyed having my wife on. It was a pleasure to kind of hit this conversation from your perspective. Jeff, thank you so much for sharing about your family.
And no problem. And Chuck just said Neil done effed up.
Thank you for sharing about your family. We obviously, as a community, as a Jeep family, we wish you, and obviously Xander, if you have the opportunity to listen to that, we wish you the best in the healing process. And for all of your family, they can find peace through this process. We had a fun time. This will be a storyline, an episode for the history books. Hopefully it stays in history. Maurice, you stay over there.
Maurice, please come on to the episodes more often and make sure you participate and tell us all the dirty secrets, because I will absolutely read those comments on here.
That is funny. Leo's going to come back on. He's going to grab us that big cylindrical black container right there.
Yep.
Bring that over here to me, buddy. We're going to give that a shaky shake. Now, we had that great sound bite that happened at Bantam Jeep Heritage Festival.
Yep.
It is revealed in the most recent YouTube videos. So if you have the opportunity or you didn't watch that yet, you'll find out what that is. A big shaky shake. I've mixed that up pretty well.
So the drawing is for the people that submitted the correct answers or correct guesses as to what actually happened with that soundbite. So the soundbite was a teaser. You heard a little bit of noise and kerfuffle, as we like to say.
Gerfuffle.
And
we have that soundbite right now.
yeah, we do.
Let's hear it.
That Thursday, we were basically starting over what we did on
What?
Tuesdays.
What are you doing?
I know. It's
What
following
is
me.
this?
Oh no!
Patty Joe! What?
So that was the little teaser that we put out on the last episode, and we asked you all to send in your guesses as to what actually happened.
So what did happen? We obviously have to tell our listening audience
Absolutely.
the fact that on Sunday, after a weekend at Bantam of absolutely perfect weather,
Oh, it was beautiful weather. You couldn't have asked for better weather.
record book better weather. It couldn't have happened, right? So other than a little bit of dryness,
Yeah.
the trails were a little dry. Otherwise, it was spectacular. We had really no big wind issues whatsoever. I mean,
no
this
wind,
is-
no rain. The sun was just perfect. It wasn't that unbearable heat. It was it was perfect weather.
This is such a freak situation that is remarkable and serendipitous in the sense that I have no other explanation for the fact that I started to interview her.
Yep.
And
Specifically about last year's event where there was a wild windstorm that just blew through
like a
Wednesday night.
What are those things that are not quite
I'm blanking
not a
out
twister, not a tornado, but
updraft
Yeah.
of some kind. I can't remember the actual
it's a
term, but
super easy word that we are forgetting right
Correct.
now. Yes.
But it just came through and ripped apart anyone that had pre-set up, including Bantam's registration tent, this massive, giant party tent.
Signage, all of your entry stuff. They had it set up ahead of schedule.
Yeah,
on
because
Wednesday
we got down there Thursday morning and it was all in pieces all over.
it was completely flipped upside down and collapsed and whatnot. Microburst.
Microburst. That's the word.
Microburst.
That's the word.
A microburst came through and ripped up this very expensive commercial grade tent. So anyways, we're having a conversation with Patty Joe talking about how when we moved in our booth space this year, they were doing that level of setup last.
Right.
That is the part of the conversation where I was starting the interview with her to say, hey, how was setup this year? We noticed this didn't happen. Why did that not happen? And I promise you, listeners, I promise you, friends and family of SFJ, all of a sudden, wind picked up
out of nowhere
and collapsed our tent.
Yeah. Literally right on us.
And
the extra
video.
rustling you hear in the background was actually the tent on the boom mic dragging across that because it came down right on everybody.
Davey's, trying to get footage. There's just a little bit of footage that exists. It is the most freak situation we could possibly, conceptualize because it just doesn't make sense. But here we are. It happened. I'm interviewing her about a freak windstorm. And literally, that was the only time the wind came up.
Oh, yeah.
And it collapsed our tent from the backside. Super weird. I don't understand it, but it happened. And that's what that soundbite was. So, folks who got the right answer off of that, names are in there. Leo, you're going to go ahead and pick our person. Go unfold it.
And the winner gets a T-shirt. So we'll reach out to
out a T-shirt.
We'll reach out to them and figure that out once we know.
All right. And it is Darla Braden. So,
all right, congrats.
Congrats to you, Darla. And obviously, good karma for, continuing to support us and our family endeavors.
Absolutely.
And Jeffrey and the needs they have. So this has been fun. Thank you, my beautiful bride, for joining us on the podcast.
You're
Leo,
welcome, Hubster.
yes, thank you for joining us and saying hello. Do you want to say goodbye?
Bye.
And Jeffrey, as always, we wish Xander the health and healing in this process.
Thank you again.
Jeep on.
Jeep on.